Do bear in mind, this is a story about a 15-year-old boy, 15, living in the outback with a monstrous old bushman who has never been around children in his life. It was a very lonely, horrible time in a way. But over the years, looking back, I actually have to thank Burt. Had I not been able to go beyond Burt, then I wouldn't be the man that I am today. So, good on you, Burt. Thank you. Here we go. One day while we were up in the Mallee, chopping up stumps and small trees, old Burt was in a foul mood.
Be careful with that axe handle. You've already put a couple of nicks in it.
I'm being as careful as I can, Burt. I can't do any more than my best.
You're a useless bastard, that's why. Not only are you a useless bastard, you're a useless pommy bastard.
What about you, Burt? Let's talk about you for a change.
What about me?
He said in an angry, defensive way. Well, it seems really funny to me, because we're really very much alike, you and I.
What do you mean by that?
You think I'm a useless pommy bastard, right?
Right first time, mate.
And I think you're a useless Aussie bastard.
What? What did you say?
You heard me. By this time, old Burt had steam hissing out of his big hairy ears. He gave the tree a big blow with his axe, and all of a sudden, without warning, the axe head broke off the handle.
God's truth, fuck me, Pink! That's your fault, you pommy bastard!
Now he was really pissed, so he pulled a long piece of baling string out of his pocket and tried to bind the handle back together again.
Here, give me your axe. This broken handle one is good enough for a pommy.
The first time I swung the axe, a big splinter tore a hole right in me first finger.
Shit!
I cursed out loud.
Now what's the matter with you, you whinging pommy?
There's nothing wrong with me. You're the one who broke the axe handle.
You trying to tell me I'm a useless bastard, are you?
Yes. You're as useless as you say I am.
All right, you pommy bastard. You tell me one thing that you can do better than me.
After a couple of seconds, I said, all right, Burt, I can play a trumpet much better than you can, and you'll never be able to play a trumpet as long as your asshole points to the ground, mate. Burt's face went deep purple now, and the veins in his neck were just about to pop. The sun was beating down really hot now, and through the smoke and haze of the fires, I could still make out Burt's distorted features.
Oh, fucking kill you, you pommy bastard!
He said as he lifted the large, sharp bush axe above his head. Uh-oh, I heard an inner voice say, now you've really done it. You've pushed the big button this time. If I was in your boots, I'd start running for my life, mate. I followed the command of the inner voice to the letter. As soon as Burt took one step in my direction, I took 10 fast steps in the opposite direction. Off I ran as fast as I could go towards a bush, which was about 100 yards away. Have you ever been chased by a madman with an axe, with the intent of burying it in your head, right up to the hilt? Well, let me tell you, it is not a very pleasant experience. As I ran flat out across the soft Mallee red dirt, it was very hard to get some traction on me boots. I ran around some of the smoking fires, hoping I would give him the slip in the grey, billowing bush smoke. But when I looked over my shoulder, he was gaining on me like a mad, hungry roo dog. I jumped clean over one small fire and then over a couple of big old logs, looking over my shoulder very quickly. Again, old Burt was still hot on my tail. His slanty eyes were now wide open and bulging, just like a big bullfrog. And he had foam and saliva running out of the corners of his tightly stretched mouth. Old Burt, although 60 years old if a day, was one of the fastest men on Lake Kajeligo's Aussie Rules team. There was only one young bloke on the team who could outrun Burt. Faster and faster I ran across the paddock. I had a big pain in my chest as my breath was violently being sucked in and out. I only had about 20 yards to go now as I headed for the thickest part of the scrub I could see. I now knew how a big old grey roo felt with an ass full of buckshot. Old Burt started to roar again when he realized I'd outrun him, which under the circumstances was not surprising.
You pommy bastard, I'll split you in fucking two when I get a good swing at you.
I did not waste my breath trying to answer him because my heart and head were pounding with pain as the breath came out in large, raspy gasps. The next second, my right boot hit hard ground as I threw myself headlong through the dense bush. Some of the thorny bushes ripped my shirt and tore up my bare arms, but it made no difference whatsoever. I slowed down very little as I pushed the low-hanging branches out of my way.
Come back here, you useless pommy bastard!
Burt roared from the edge of the Mallee, where he'd finally given up the chase. I was in such a state of fear and dread that I even pissed myself a little bit. But I pressed on into the bush till I felt like I was safe and far enough away from Burt.
You'll have to come out of the scrub before the day's out, mate, and when you do, I'll get you.
My breathing was still deep and raspy, so I just crouched behind a wattle bush and watched old Burt rant and rave from a safe distance. Now what do I do? If I stay in the scrub, I'll more than likely die of thirst. By now, I was really dry and thirsty. If I could go back to the Mallee paddock, old Burt would kill me. The only thing left for me to do now was to have a good old cry. Then I could think straight again, and maybe I could work out how I was going to get myself out of the bind I was now in. I spent about 2 hours in the scrub watching old Burt in the distance as he wailed away with the axe at an old box tree stump. It would be dark soon enough, and old Burt would hop in his ute with his dogs in the back and leave me in the bush on my own all night with no food or water. Thirsty as I was, I had no intentions of coming out of the Mallee. I could probably survive for another day with no water if I kept still, but I would not survive for 24 seconds with an axe sticking out the back of my head. Finally the sun went down, and old Burt made his way back over to where I was hiding.
You better come out now, mate. It's time to go home.
Fuck you, Burt. You're going to kill me with that axe.
I've cooled down now. I'm sorry about that.
Now I was close to tears again when Burt said he was sorry, because I now knew he was a sick man and not in full control of his faculties.
Come on, Richard. Let's forget all about it. You can even smoke while you work, as long as you don't slack off.
You promise you won't kill me if I come out? I yelled at him from in the bush.
All right. I promise I'll not hurt you, mate. Come on, hurry up, or the missus will get worried about us being late.
He sounded his normal, miserable self now, so I decided to walk out of the scrub. When I got a few feet away from him, he said,
"You want to go to a tennis match with me on Sunday Arvo?"
"All right," I said.
"There'll be some boys your own age there. You'll have a good time with them."
We walked off across the paddock together, back to his ute. On the way home, we never spoke a word to each other, and when we got back to the house, Kay came out and said, "Where have you been? You're late. I was worried about you. We're having rabbit stew for dinner tonight, and after we'll have some homemade ice cream." The next time I went to town, I happened to tell someone about Burt chasing me with the axe, and before long, bush downs being what they are, the story was all over town. To this day, it is very well known around Lake Cajaligo that Yorky, their new chummy from Yorkshire, was the only bloke ever to outrun old Burt Booth off the football field. Well, I survived another day. More stories to come from Yorky and old Burt.